Hey, today I want to speak about how quick life is. Just recently, a friend of mine passed away, and it brings this perspective into play that most of us we know of, but we never really actually think about and take to heart. Life comes so quick and goes by so quick. Everyone they think so long term, and that's healthy. Don't get me wrong, but you act. I should say we act like we have every single bit of time. But in reality, you never know when you're going to go. And I guess what really speaks to me and hits me hard is most of us, we focus on earth, and more earth. And we forget the most vital, important part, and that's heaven. Like, the second you choose heaven and choose God every single day of your life, if you pass away, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because the next thing you know is heaven. A lot of people, I feel like they don't understand that. They understand it, but they don't really act like they do, because their actions show they don't. If we would be more focused on a God-centered pathway, if you will, when people would pass away, no one would ever really be sad. They would actually be very, very happy. But I think a lot of us, we all have this deep feeling within, well, what if they're not there type thing. And some of us maybe never think this way, but your actions and everything you do in life leads up to ultimately that choice. Either make it or you don't, and you get to choose every single bit of it. And that's a lot on your shoulders to weigh on if you really are maybe in that middle zone. For me personally, it kind of brings perspective into play. We worked so hard to gain stuff on an earth-centered base. To what? For what purpose, If you're not living to try to help someone else, what's really the point? That's like what I'm starting to come to conclude. We can work so incredibly hard for stuff that's so temporary, and we can lose our soul in the process of doing all this. And the real deep question is, why do we allow ourselves to think this way? I think a lot of it falls down to we don't really take life as serious as we should. The second, I think, you open your perspective to what real reality is, not the reality that so many people falsely try to make reality, you start seeing life in a clearer picture. And I guess that's the point of this video, to try to say, go after your dreams and passions and love for life. But if you can't put God first in your life, you need to, stop and reflect. Because if you don't put Him first, what if you drive to work and you don't make it back? What if you just suddenly have a heart attack? You have these things that are terrifying, but it's a reality. And it's not terrifying if you choose daily God and you put Him first in your life every single day. There's nothing scary about death at all. For me, I welcome death on a daily, and what I mean by that is I'm not afraid of it. Why would I be afraid of escaping this reality that has so much darkness to it? For me, if I would die, I'd be a really happy guy. I understand what the Bible says and how things are just going to get crazier and crazier. So for me, I would feel really happy not having to live through all that. And once you start viewing stuff in that perspective, death is a beautiful thing in the sense, if you die in God, it really is a beautiful thing, because the next thing you see is heaven. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing ever to be afraid of death. You should only be afraid when you walk a very uncertain line. Then you should be terrified of death. Death will be your worst nightmare, because you chose to live on a very edge-centered life, if you will, and that's your choice. And I'm not here trying to say to live differently, because it is your choice, and I believe in freedom of choice to every aspect of freedom of choice. But it is a reality that needs to be stated and really understood, because it's such a simple base reality, and people die all the time, but no one really takes to heart the true longevity meaning of death. And it's just, I wish people did, that's all.